Hello and welcome to NUFS, and we're here to talk about movies. I'm Mike. This is Clay.
Hello. And we're here to, of course, review some upcoming movie trailers and then talk a little bit about them and kind of their place in cinema here. I'm with the New Ulm Film Society. Of course, the New Ulm Film Society, we are dedicated to just exploring different types of movies, and we usually watch them right here at the library here on the second Tuesday.
Or at the Grand.
Or at the Grand, usually the third Thursday. We get different series, and we try to get topics so that we can really generate energy about talking.
We get a little more artsy at the Grand.
We get artsy, yeah.
Yeah.
But I would argue we get artsy here too, because
True.
when I do argue that we only really watch the good movies here. We do try to curate.
That's what we think.
We think
Other
so.
people might have other
You might
opinions.
disagree with us. We curate them. We know what we're doing.
Well, why don't we get right into it? Our first trailer this evening is for Megalopolis, Francis Ford Coppola's vanity piece, coming out here soon.
One filmmaker has always been ahead of his time.
Time, stop! Go.
Now, from visionary writer and director Francis Ford Coppola, comes an event nothing can prepare you for.
Imagine today's society as a branch of civilization about to reach a dead end. Is this way we're living the only one that's available to us?
Okay, so this trailer to me is wild in a number of ways that aren't necessarily good. Are you familiar with the controversy surrounding this trailer?
A little bit. I've heard it's just. My guess would be just watching that. My concern was, and maybe this shows you where I am. It looks like some AI kind of maybe.
So, from what I understand, the initial version of this trailer had AI-generated hit pieces that had never been written by anybody about Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, the whole thing strikes me as just an ego stroke by a guy who forgot that he read the Foundation trilogy 40 years ago.
That's probably an accurate depiction. When I just watching that trailer, the thing that kind of struck me right away is you had the studio American Zoetrope. Mm-hmm. That's Francis Ford Coppola's studio, and he tried to really get that going in the 80s. It was and it flopped. For lack of a better word, he just couldn't quite get it up and running. He wanted to just really take the reins and have like the director and producer kind of just be able to create his own stuff without getting out of the studio system. Mm-hmm. It didn't work.
And we've seen a number of other directors able to do that kind of thing. So maybe he just, didn't have the business acumen, or maybe didn't have the funding to do it. But I'm not going to reflect on his business ability. I'm going to reflect on the fact that he hasn't made a good movie since 1992.
That would probably be what a lot of people say, is because even people who are charitable and like a lot of Francis Ford Coppola's work, the first films he came out with when he did the American Zoetrope, they don't generally like them. They didn't go over so well.
Yeah.
He, you got to give credit to Francis for just. He had 1-2 punch of Godfather in the 70s.
Yeah.
And then even Apocalypse
Now, yeah.
And then you don't really hear too much of his work through the.
He made a couple of other decent films and some pretty good ones too. I mean, Steven pointed out that the Rainmaker in 1997 was a pretty good movie.
But it is, and that was kind of one of the great legal dramas that people like. But I'm also a big fan of his version of Dracula he did in 1992.
Again, that's what I was referencing when I said his last great film was 92.
Yeah, he did that.
I mean, it's quite the ego stroke for a guy who hasn't made a good movie in 32 years, in my opinion.
And I don't know how long he's been trying to make this movie, but
I've been hearing about it since I was in high school. So about how long? 40 years.
40 years. And so it's just and it's like, I'm not sure what it took so long, and part of me worries that it's just like people who were brought on board, like, I don't know about the script. I'm getting that it probably is just there's something wrong fundamentally, and to be honest, just from that trailer even, I'm not 100% sure what this movie's about.
I feel like it is, again, I referenced the Foundation trilogy because I feel like that is an idea that seems like a concept that's doing a lot of heavy lifting. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's his attempt at his own personal Citizen Kane or Cleopatra, some really grand sort of biopic about a character that is larger than life.
Yeah.
But it strikes me as exactly the kind of passion project that should never get made.
And that's kind of the thing, is a lot of studios jumped in. And it was, again, around the time he started American Zoetrope, 80s, there were studios who were like, we got to be careful about our tour directors running away.
Well,
and
they all learned their lessons from Heaven's Gate, where in
They
1980,
did, yeah.
Bankrupt United
Yeah.
Artists, a studio that had been around for 60 years and was started by Charlie Chaplin and had a huge legacy in the industry,
Oh,
just
yeah,
sunk by one crazy director, just swinging for the fences. And don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful movie,
Yep.
but it's certainly not worth the quality of artists that were coming out of United
Yeah,
Artists.
and that's the other thing too. I mean, you could even blame Coppola for this, because that's Apocalypse Now. That's
Yep.
him running away, literally almost kidnapping an entire crew and then taking him to the jungle.
Yeah, holding him
where it's
hostage
like-
with
yeah.
I think they were the Philippines
Yeah.
military or something
Yeah.
like that.
I think it's a good thing to point out that in the 70s, we have a lot of great movies, and that's because we've kind of let the directors kind of take over and have their own voice. The people who didn't normally have that, we gave the oddballs and the weirdos got a chance to make movies, and it turned out they were great at it.
Yeah.
And what happened is the studios kind of backed off at the point, like, okay, maybe these guys know what they're doing. And the thing is, the lesson is, they maybe backed off too far.
I think so.
And then in
Yeah.
the 80s, they're kind of coming back and like, we know we kind of do need to like.
It's
put
my
record
Zack
out.
Snyder theory, where there's a lot of talent there, but there needs to be some control. Him with unlimited creative control
Yeah.
is a bad filmmaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
But with a lot of oversight, he can make some really incredible things.
Yeah, and the other thing about this trailer I just watched for Megalopolis, there's a lot of big actors in here. We see a lot of big names, and it's clear that he's
Still got some juice.
He's cashing in his chips. He's
Yep.
like, please come in and be in this movie. And one of the things that kind of I got a kick of, the narrator, that's Lawrence Fishburne, who's
Yep.
narrating the trailer. Lawrence Fishburne, one of his earliest movies was Apocalypse
Yeah.
Now. He's in that
Yeah.
movie, so clearly he's still
got that
friends
connection
with-
still.
got that connection. He can bring him in to.
Well, we still got a few movies to get through here, so I think maybe we should take a look at our next trailer, which is for Wild Robot.
Yes.
Which is a new film from the guy who made How to Train Your Dragon, which is one of my personal favorite movies. I loved it. I have a lot of bones to pick with various people about How to Train Your Dragon, but we'll take a look first at the trailer for Wild Robot.
I see trees of green and clouds of light, bright blessed day, dark sacred night. What a wonderful world. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself,
I mean, just frankly, that looks gorgeous. I mean, visually stunning film. I'm very excited to see this one. It looks like maybe might have an absence of a strong villain, which gives me concern, especially with children's films. That's been a real trend lately that I find to be a terribly concerning one.
Yeah.
We used to have Scar and all that kind of thing, where there was an obvious villain for the people, for our characters to struggle against. Whereas in these, recent string of films, it's been, generational trauma
Sure.
and stuff like
Sure,
that
sure.
we all struggle against, but
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily make for a
Yeah.
compelling film.
I'm not so certain either, because this trailer, my first thought when watching it is like, well, first off, this looks adorable.
Amazing.
I want
Just
to
visually.
I love it. I have seen other trailers for this one though that had more dialogue centric, and I suspect we will have an antagonist actually.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil anything, but out there, but because the basic, we have a robot that's in the wild. The title says it all right there. I suspect that what's the because the movie that this other movies that I'm reminded of most are 1999's Iron Giant, and 2008's Wall-E.
Okay, hate that movie.
Yeah, but it reminds me of a weird combination of both of those movies, and the thing about it is both those movies do kind of have an antagonist in them. It's not the most obvious antagonist in either one.
It's the twist villain.
It's kind of a twist villain because in the Iron Giant, the twist is kind of an FBI agent who's just gone over who's supposed to investigate, but he just goes too far. The military isn't even evil in that movie. They turn out they're kind of like, no, this is fine. And then in Wall-E, you find out that the villain, at first it seems like there is no villain of Wall-E. It's just like they're just trying to save humanity, bring them back, but then you find out it's another robot, an AI that has taken control of everything. I think it's going to go the Wall-E approach with this one.
Yeah, with a competing robot.
I think wherever this robot came from, and that's another interesting thing about this movie. I don't know what year this movie takes place in. Is this movie set in the past or the present?
I would say it
or
looks like
future?
The past.
Past, present, or the future. It
could be the Wall-E technique.
It could be anything too, because we don't know where these robots go. Are these robots even made by humans? We don't know. And I'm guessing there's more robots, and this one might be. It's the wild robot. The other ones. That might be the conflict there.
Yeah, I noticed some visual referencing possibly to The Fox and the Hound with the fox on the log and the waterfall, which excites me because I love that movie. That's one of those my favorites from when I was a kid. I am excited to see this film specifically because I really love How to Train Your Dragon. I'm very excited to see the next film from that director. I'm actually still mad that it didn't win Best Picture, Best Animated Picture against Toy Story 3 because I feel like it was the better movie that year.
Really? Okay.
That's a Toy one. Well, don't get me wrong. I think Toy Story 3 is great.
It is.
I very much enjoyed the film, but I thought that How to Train Your Dragon was a fresher movie. Felt fun, and it's harder to break a new story than it is to retread old ground.
That's a good point, and I think that's another reason why I'm excited about this movie. I like it because most of the films we're going to talk about today are sequels.
Yep. This is new.
This is original. Yeah, you can see inspiration from other sources, but it's the only one where it's like there's no pre-existing IP on this
art
one.
is derivative, Clay. There's always inspiration from other sources. You're never going to have a wholly original work. You're going to have things that are referencing other things. All of our cultural understanding is built on references to other stuff.
I agree too, but I think this could be the starting point for a film that could become a classic with some of the other people because I mentioned it being inspired by Iron Giant and Wall-E. Wall-E was a huge hit when it came out. Iron Giant was a cult hit. It took a while for that one to catch on.
I think it was because it was too sad.
Yeah.
I mean, because when I saw that movie the first time, I was about 9 years old, and it hit me, and I was like, I think this movie's too sad.
It's pretty sad.
And I saw it again when I was like 17. I was like, this movie is amazing.
Yeah, it is. And I think that could be. I think this one looks a little bit more. I think this one. I don't know this yet, but I think it's going to have a happier ending. I think we're.
I sure hope so.
I think so. And
I'm sold.
I'm sold. I think young people are the children are gonna really grab onto this. It could become a classic someday.
They love cute animals. I know my kids love cute animals.
They do, and it's a cute robot, and they're going through nature, and it's like, man, that's just it's gonna work out well, and it's got a pretty good stacked voice cast too. So,
I'm interested to see Pedro Pascal's first voice acting role officially, because The Mandalorian is essentially a voice acting role. I know,
it's right there. So
although this isn't.
Oh, that's technically the Boba Fett.
This isn't even Boba Fett. This is the Marshal.
Oh yeah.
This is the one non-Mandalorian character.
We know our stuff too. We'll go on there. Count Vance.
This T-shirt, I did not. My wife got it for me, and I thought, oh, that's a great T-shirt. Then I looked at it, and I thought. That's not the Mandalorian, nor is that even a Mandalorian. It is just the Marshal, who's a cool character.
He's a good character, though, to be fair. So that's he's an important character.
Yeah.
But we digress.
Yes, I digress. Moving on, I think we're going to take a look at the trailer for The Joker 2 here, which should be cool. I don't know if Todd Phillips understands what a musical is, but we'll take a look.
Let's go, boys. It's showtime. Wakey, wakey.
Hey, Fleck, you got a joke for us today?
We use music to make us whole, to balance the fractures within ourselves.
I'm nobody. I haven't done anything with my life like you have. Let's get out of here.
What the world needs now is
I mean, I'm not terribly excited for this one. I wasn't so opposed to it until I read Todd Phillips' comments about it not actually being a musical, which I think strains the understanding of a musical.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think?
I'm kind of on the same. I was initially very excited about this movie when it was hinted that, you know what's we're gonna do a musical.
Yeah.
Turn it into a musical. I'm like, brilliant, genius, love it. Everything. I had no notes on that suggestion right off the bat because it's the Joker too.
Yeah.
It's anarchy. That's it. Let's make it a musical.
The absurdity of the everyday. That's the character of the Joker.
You
know,
nailed it. That's brilliant. Oh, we're bringing in Harley Quinn. Lady Gaga's gonna play Harley.
Beautiful.
Quinn. Perfect.
Excellent
No
casting.
notes.
Yes.
You did it. Nope. Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you could top the previous casting on Harley Quinn. I thought she did a great job.
I agree.
In every piece of media that she was in, she was the best part.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely. But I love Margot Robbie, who has played Harley Quinn
She's great.
3 different films now, and
Yeah.
she's great in all of them. I love them. And so they're a great character. And, I think one of the things about this movie is, at its core, it is a comic book movie, technically.
Exactly, yeah.
We're taking comic book characters, in this case, one of the most famous comic book villains, and giving him now his sequel, because we had Joker in 2019 came out. Now we have the sequel. I think one of the secrets to a lot of these comic book movies, why they succeed, is at the core, they're character dramas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting. People want to know about the character and how they relate to one another. So when you bring in Harley Quinn, who's a great character from the comics, truly is, which is why we can get so many good movies out of her. And you bring her in with the Joker who Joaquin Phoenix, created in the previous film.
It's a great job playing unhinged characters.
He
Joker, Gladiator. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see Napoleon, but I'm assuming that's what he was doing in that movie. He did a good job.
Well, he won his Oscar for playing the Joker. Last year, and my gut tells me that they're trying to get Lady Gaga an Oscar here too, to some extent. I would be surprised.
We'll see.
We'll see how it goes. We haven't seen the performance, but yeah.
I feel like people really connect with this character in an unfortunate way, which I mean, it's a similar way that I feel like people connect with character Howard Beale from Network, which I feel like is strongly inspiring this film here.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because there's a great deal of misunderstanding around that character and his motivations, and that may play well with this Joker trope. I'm not certain, but
I don't know where they're
it's a character for the times, and whether I like it or not is irrelevant. It's popular.
Yeah.
It's what people want. Whether it's going to be a true musical or a movie with music in it, we've yet to see.
It out. But we were talking about films that are inspired by other films. These Joker films, they've taken a heavy influence from Martin Scorsese's work. Taxi Driver, king of comedy. And the thing is about those movies, the main character isn't really a true good guy in any of them.
No.
They're kind of this anti-hero.
Even the best guy in his movies are always bad people.
They're pretty terrible people. And that's kind of what they're going on here. So that's the core, I think, with the Joker. He is a bad guy. And they're not trying, and the thing is, I think that can get lost sometimes is he is a villain. We need to kind of be careful not to try to make him too... If you make him a hero, you kind of miss the point here. And I know there is, in this movie, just from the trailer, and I know definitely the first one, there was a mental health allegory kind of metaphor going on.
Yeah, and it seems like that's going to be a really strong element to this film.
Seems they're going to go in that too, and it's it's one of those things where you can, and that would actually probably come up with some of the other movies we talk about here, that you could do a disservice to that community if you portray it wrong.
Well, that wouldn't be anything new. They've
true.
been misserved their entire existence.
That's true.
That's
I do have So I am a little nervous about this, how they're doing it. If they'd just gone straight musical and gone really with wild colors, I probably would be more happy with the idea.
I think that would have made more sense to me.
Also, some of the dance scenes, that did look, I'm kind of intrigued. I'm probably going to have to just see the movie just to figure it out what is going on.
I might skip this one, to be honest. I didn't see the first one either. It's hard for me to watch films like that because I got so many kids, and it's, by the time I put it on, it's 9:30, and I just don't want to watch anything, and especially anything that's going to be trying,
It's really interesting. But it's fun because, this isn't even the only comic book villain movie we were going to talk about today.
I know, yeah.
We got another
The other
one.
one looks like a lot more fun. So.
Yeah, maybe moving on to the next one. We'll get to that one.
So I think the next film we're going to talk about here is Saturday Night, which is a very exciting film, and I'm very excited for it. Let's take a look.
Ready, come away. Oh!
Okay, do we go again?
Actors on their mark.
My name is Lorne Michaels. I'm the producer and creator of Saturday Night. We're excited because there's never been a television show like this.
Okay, but what kind of show is it, Lauren? Do you even know what the show is?
Did anyone ask Edison what a light bulb was before he harnessed electricity?
Who are you in the metaphor?
Chevy Chase, Kilda Radner, Dan Ike, how do you pronounce this?
These can't be the right size.
Yeah, you're right. They should be a little bit smaller.
And action on rehearsal. And now, weekend update.
Good evening. Gentlemen, how long have you been standing there?
I mean, Lauren, 90 minutes of live television by a group of 20-year-olds who have never made anything.
Okay, so this is a bit?
Look, I don't get half that they do.
I'm really excited for this one. I love Saturday Night Live. I've been watching it since I was a kid, which is not 50 years, as it's been on for 50 years, but I'm only in my 30s here, and it's something that I remember growing up in the 90s, really loving, Chris Farley and Adam Sandler. So the idea of a film that explores the origins of the concept is just very exciting to me.
Oh yeah, I love it. I'm excited. It's a biopic that does the thing with biopics that I prefer. I think some of the mistakes with biopics that they can do is they focus on the person's entire life from birth to death, and it's like, no, focus on the part that's interesting. This movie takes place in the 90 minutes before the first episode, started taping on the first Saturday Night Live. So it's just that little small slice of life in that one moment. You're not going to get all this backstory, all this other stuff. It's just, also this one is, character drama. We got lots of different real people, several people's biopics, really. Mm-hmm. Lauren Michaels seems to be the focus, but it looks like we got the whole original cast here. And
Gilda Radner and Dan Aykroyd and
they're all
Chevy
there.
Chase.
Yep.
There was noted strife behind the scenes that I'm sure we'll be privy to in this film.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is the backstage stories of Saturday Night Live are kind of legendary.
Wild.
There's a lot of them. There's been multiple books written about what happened, and they always have the cast just telling their side of the story.
Yeah.
So there were so many interesting stories and how they went in there. And one of the concerns I know some people had with this movie is that they were going to try to, kind of soften some of the edges there, or kind of make certain other aspects a little bit more, scary and tension filled than they really.
Well, that's what you have to do when you adapt real life. Essentially,
but,
sometimes.
You think the concern is that that's not. Maybe we're not portraying it really accurate. Although watching the trailer, I think they probably are more closer to what real life than maybe some people would want there. One of the things
I sure hope the lights didn't fall down on them.
I wouldn't be surprised with some accident. One of the things that was interesting about that first night of Saturday Night Live is. Some people kind of forget this, but you had Jim Henson was there.
Yeah.
They had some of the early Muppets. Muppets were on that first episode. The cast did not like the Muppets.
Well, he wanted to do an adult version of the Muppets. I mean, that's something that he was striving to do for most of his career because he didn't want to be seen as the Sesame Street guy because he had an adult sensibility about him as well.
Yeah, but that was the thing here. They kind of got rid of the Muppets just because the actual comedians who were on the show kind of resented having to work with puppets for a lot of it.
Yep.
And Jim Henson is a character in this movie, and they do go into that. They do not soft pedal that because the thing about Jim Henson these days everyone always talks about what a great genius and how beloved he was. The hero worship is great, but there were people, the Saturday Night Live cast didn't necessarily appreciate that, and they're going to actually go into that, and so we're not going to get them glossing over that and pretending, oh, we're all buddies.
Yeah.
We're being honest about it, what was actually.
I mean, the idea of Jim Henson as a socially awkward person doesn't strike me as far-fetched. I mean, he did play with puppets, so I think that'll be an interesting thing to see on this film. So it's directed by famous Nepo baby Jason Reitman, which he directed one of my personal favorite films, Up in the Air. So I'm hoping he continue that magic right onto this one.
Yeah, he'll be doing just fine. He's probably, I imagine, he had heard stories about what happened on Saturday Night Live growing up.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Yeah, I mean, his father was good friends with a lot of those guys, made a lot of movies with some of those people. So, I mean, even if he didn't get it from his father, I'm sure he might have even gotten a lot of those stories firsthand from Dan Aykroyd or from any other people he interacted with in his life. It's good to see a Nepo baby get a story that they probably have a lot of firsthand knowledge about, and then tell that story from their perspective, which I think will hopefully lend to not just the credibility of the film, but the authenticity.
Yeah, it's just we got a biography film kind of coming out right around the time Oscar season is coming up. So I don't know if this one we might get some acting nods for it here.
Yeah, I mean, Reitman is no stranger to getting Oscar nominations. He got a few for Up in the Air, and I believe he got a few for a few other films as well. I don't know necessarily if he's ever personally been nominated, except maybe for writing, if I can remember off the top of my head.
It could be. The thing is, I know the Oscars they like those period dramas.
They do.
This does, and it's but it's also because it's about comedy. We know it's going to be.
They hate comedy.
It is, but it's also a sell. I think the audiences are going to turn out for this one.
Hopefully,
I think they will want to see it because they like the Saturday Night Live, or even if they have gone away from Saturday Night Live, they want to see the original cast.
I think if it has any shot at the Oscars, the audiences are going to have to turn out, because otherwise, even no matter how good a comedy is, if it's ignored by audiences, it's going to be ignored by the Academy. That's just the way they are.
Again, it does have the benefit of being, based on true story.
Yep.
And we love those.
All right, so next up, I think we have Smile 2, which is not a film I'm very familiar with. I didn't even see Smile 1. Clay's the horror guy here. I'm mostly science fiction.
I'll help you along.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it.
Take a look at this trailer. Hopefully it's safe.
I need you to listen to me. Something really bad happened. You remember Louis Fergoli? From high school? I went to his apartment. But when I showed up...
Louis?
No! Get away from me! What?
He was smiling at me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sky Riley, you are in the middle of a big world tour.
You okay? I keep seeing this face everywhere.
This thing is a parasite. You witnessed a death. Now it's latched onto you.
911, what's your emergency?
Okay, well that looks wild. It reminds me a little bit of the movie It Follows. Are you familiar with that one?
I'm familiar. And you would be corrected. There's a lot of similarities into it because basically the plot of this story is we have a curse that is following someone around. In this case, it's a person who they witnessed a person commit suicide, and the person who committed suicide was smiling when they did it.
That's creepy.
And then the thing is, they keep seeing the smiling face. Only they can see it. No one else can. It's kind of just in them.
Yep.
And it keeps following around. And the thing is, it's a curse. And the curse will force them to do the same, also commit suicide within a few amount of days here. And it'll make them do that in front of someone else. And it keeps passing on the curse to the next person. That's the concept of the first movie, and that's what they're carrying on with the sequel here. And I'll just put my cards on the table. My first, after I saw this original Smile, I didn't really like that movie too much.
Oh, really?
Because, the film had a heavy, as we've kind of mentioned before, mental health metaphor in there. I don't think it had a lot of really good to that conversation. It kind of hurt that conversation more than it. And it's like, that seems kind of an appropriate thing to do for how they did it, making it. First, it sounded okay, but it just kind of made it seem like the characters have to like isolate themselves to stay away from people, and it's like that's not a good idea.
No,
it's just
especially when dealing with suicide.
It made it a stigma thing.
Yeah.
I did kind of like the idea, like, oh, I'm smiling even though this is not happy. I'm smiling through the pain. I'm being forced to. This is not what I really want. That part of the metaphor, kind of like, okay, I kind of get onto that. But the thing that's interesting about this sequel, we get a sequel, of course, because the original was quite successful.
Yes, I had heard of the film. I just never seen any content.
It did very well, so of course we were going to get a sequel. But the thing that kind of fascinates me is, now I'm thinking about it, is it's a part 2.
Mm-hmm.
We already talked about Joker part 2.
Yes.
Joker is about a guy who has a smile on his face, even though funny stuff
there
is
you
happening.
Go, yeah.
And this is also a movie about the grim rictus smile. Is a trend for some reason in sequels. And then there's another trend that I noticed with this movie. This movie, you can see from the trailer here, the main character, she's some kind of pop star. She's a singer. She's going out there and going on world tours and stuff. Famous.
Well, pop culture's obsession with the rich and the beautiful is never ending. So,
but the original movie was about a person who worked at a mental health clinic for the most part, a doctor.
Okay.
So this is a departure, which is fine. But here's the thing that's interesting: is like this isn't even the only horror thriller film we've had where one of the main characters was a pop singer.
Yes.
Trap came out 3 months ago, and that's also which was really good. I like that movie. That whole movie took place at a concert for a female pop star here. Who's
interestingly, M. Night Shyamalan has It's Happening, It Happens, or whatever. That's about people killing themselves in front of other people, which is,
and he directed Trap. So
overlap of concepts.
And so I'm just seeing this. There is this trend right now where horror movies are using the concept of these big tours of shows and concerts here and coming up. And I was like, that is because we've had 2 horror movies that have used that kind of setting, and those characters for that, and I can't help but feel that they're inspired by the Taylor Swift tours. I'm guessing
The Happening. I'm gonna beat myself up about this. The Happening. It was not It Happened or whatever.
You're right. Yeah, that was this movie.
Yes. Though the Taylor Swift tour could definitely, especially the Trap film. I feel like that was.
Yeah, I'm sure that was an influence behind some of this, and it's just I do find that kind of interesting that we have that trend coming up here. That's probably why they made the movie this way, because they could have had it follow any type of person that specifically do that. I think that's kind of where they're going with it, but it's just
I think I agree with you on that one, yeah.
Fine.
So next up we have Venom 3, which for me looks like a blast. I didn't see either of the first 2 movies, but I feel like they learned all the right lessons, and this trailer, makes me laugh so hard. I'm very excited to see what they do with the film. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the other 2 now just so I can see this one. All right, let's take a look.
You should probably know that I have a really dark and unpredictable side to me. Stop speaking. I'm giving you a chance, sweetie.
Say when.
When? What are you? We are.
We're Venom!
We are.
Venom!
No.
Oh!
Yeah, we
are.
Venom. We're gonna need to work on that.
Delicious! You take me to all the finest places.
I need to tie them up.
Okay, so it looks like he's having a blast, which makes me want to have fun. I know whenever I see an actor on screen that looks like they're having fun playing the role, it makes me more interested in the movie. Yeah. It's kind of a weird, why should the actor look like they're having fun? But, think about Biff Tannen in Back to the Future. That actor looks like he's having a blast.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. But it's just exciting and to see this film, too. And like you, I haven't seen all the Venom movies. I didn't actually see the original Venom. Did see the sequel they did a few years ago with Carnage in it. And but this is probably the one I'm most excited to see actually. And just because it looks like they're going really, really, really full on silly almost, and just going for broke on it, which is probably the correct approach to go. You mentioned like it looks like they learned all the correct lessons.
Yeah, they know what they are. They know what they're doing. Yeah, and they're going all in on it.
Well, the thing is, and again, it's the trend of a comic book villain getting their own movie. This case, Venom's a Spider-Man villain.
Well, the Venom character isn't always necessarily a villain, though.
That is true.
He's sort of more of an anti-hero, like your Hulk, where he does bad things. He's a bad person, but he's not necessarily a villain in the traditional sense, like the Punisher.
That's true. And he got more like the anti-hero style, which is. And the thing is, it should be noted, they've been trying to make Venom movies since the early 90s. Yeah. Like right away, because the brand of Venom was so popular. Yeah. So they wanted to make a standalone movie with him forever. And it took them until just a few years ago to get
they shoehorned him into Spider-Man 3, and that was bad.
People didn't like that, but then again, the director-writer, Sam Raimi, didn't want to use him. He was kind of forced to use him, studio meddling. And they finally were just like, Sony could just they had the rights to him. They could, let's make our own standalone. Let's just do our own thing and get it there. Yep. And they made a film that's almost probably a lot less, more lighter than what they originally intended. Because the Venom character is usually portrayed as this dark, brooding kind of. They're really gritty storylines. They went almost comedy with these ones, which it worked clearly.
I appreciate with this trailer, especially.
They went for it. The comedy helped, and people turned out for them. And I've heard, in other countries, the whole Venom series, it is marketed basically as a straight comedy. They're not marketed as action movies so much. Yeah. And it worked. Because it worked. Great. The other countries love it. They thought they maybe don't understand all the backstory and context behind it, but the movie has done, the series did very well in some of the Asian markets here, and there are, fans of these Venom movies all over the place, and to some extent, it doesn't have too much in connection with the comic book origins. There's some a little bit, and I'm told that they're using one of the more recent Venom character villains will be used for the bad guys. You're like the origin of where the symbionts come from, but that's a relatively new character that they invented for the comic. But they were able to use him for this one. I gotta be honest, though, one of the things I'm most excited about wasn't in this trailer, but looks like there is going to be a scene in this movie where the Venom symbiote jumps on a horse. I want to see that.
That looks like fun.
That looks like it's fun. I'm all in it for the Venom horse, really.
Do we have that clip, Steven? Can we play that quick? Here we go. There you go.
Yeah, that's just a good example of the fun you can have when you have a Venom symbiote, and it's kind of funny.
That looks like a blast.
That looks like I want to know about that and just.
Given Sony versus myriad of failures, it's nice to see a film that looks like it's going to be fun. I mean, based on everything I saw about Madam Web, that was a total disaster, and I didn't see the vampire one there. But
Morbius, I did, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The stories are true. It was quite bad.
Yeah,
it was very
bad. Which I guess it's had more value as a joke than as an actual film. Which is a shame, because, I mean, I love Jared Leto so much. He's, like, absolutely one of the greatest actors that have ever... No, I think he's awful. I can't think of a film...
You had me going there for
besides, what's the one where he gets murdered by Christian Bale? American Psycho. That's the only movie I like him in.
Or Batman killed the Joker.
Yeah. And otherwise, no, thank you. If I see him, he's an immediate turn-off.
Yeah, and then maybe that's a good point to... I mean, the Venom movies have really good acting, too. I mean, Tom Hardy, I like Tom Hardy. He does some pretty good work there. And,
I think he's great.
And the previous movie had Woody Harrelson as the bad guy. They do get some actors who just like doing the work there and having fun at it, too, which is, I think, more we can say from those.
It looks like he has great chemistry with himself as both himself and as the villain character.
And if I remember correctly, and you can correct me if this, I'm pretty sure Venom is that is the voice of Venom.
Yeah.
Same guy who does Golem.
Oh no, Venom is actually Tom Hardy, as far as I'm aware.
He actually is voicing the symbiote too.
He's voicing the symbiote too.
Okay. Now I remember. Andy Serkis directed like the previous.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, Andy Serkis.
Oh, that makes some sense. I suppose.
I think he helped with some of the puppetry because CGI kind of character there, that animatics there. I know he helped with the second one. I think you did direct the second one.
It's good to see him carve a career for himself after just basically being a motion double for the beginnings of his career.
He'll still be there, and I hope we get some more films. He directed a version of the Jungle Book too, so but I have to check that one out yet too. But yeah, it's we got some exciting stuff to look up here for in the future here, and we don't know. I haven't been able to see these movies yet, but
I'm excited to see at least 3 of them.
That's probably where I'm at. Yeah. I'm in for the I'm a Wild Robot, Saturday Night Live, and then of course this Venom 2. Those are the 3 that I'm excited to see here. But
maybe I'll watch Megalopolis just for the fun of it when it's on streaming. So
I'll wait for your review of that one. And to be honest with you, I might wait for a few more reviews on Joker too, actually, before I double down on that.
All right, so we're gonna end the show here with a little bit of trivia. Steven in the back there is gonna read us a couple questions, and we'll see if we can get them.
All right, I'll put my phone away to make sure I don't cheat.
Okay. All right, Steven, what do you got for us? You got a typo, that's for one.
What was the name of the Muppet segment on the first season of SNL?
Oh man, do you know this one? I don't know this one.
No, I don't actually.
Fraggle Rock?
No, that'd be too easy.
Yeah. Gosh, I feel like they were trash characters, but that's all I got.
Yeah, this is a question where it's I'm not sure if I was ever told what the segment's name was.
I think I've seen one clip of the Muppet section, but I certainly don't remember the name.
I have actually seen the clip, but I do not remember what they were calling it at the time. And that is.
All right, Steven, what's the answer?
The Land of Gorch.
It's a terrible name.
I would have never remembered that.
Yeah, what a truly awful name. All right, what's next?
Who was the character of the Joker based on?
Okay, this one I actually think I do know. It's Conrad Veidt, actually. I think it was because there was a movie, it was a silent film, I don't remember what year it was, but it would have been the 20s, called The Man Who Laughed, which was based on a Victor Hugo novel. And in that story, the main character had his parents deliberately disfigured him, cut the side of his mouth, and so he had a permanent smile no matter what. And it was this grim rictus smile, and the comic book artist Bill Finger at the time saw that it was creepy, and he saw that that's scary. What if we made a character that was based entirely on that, and then made that villain? And there's famous of and that's I believe Conrad Veidt played the Man Who Laughed, and Conrad Veidt went on to have he would have been in the cabinet of Dr. Kilgari as well, and he went on to be the main Nazi villain in Casablanca, actually. So
that was the same guy, yeah. Oh, I love Casablanca.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, were we right?
Hold on here.
Yeah, Conrad Veidt
in the 1928 film The Man Who Laughs.
There you go. You can see the Joker there.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
No question.
All right.
Who was the first robot in cinema?
Well, I'm gonna go with the robot from Metropolis.
Yeah, and I don't remember the robot.
I don't remember. It was something with an M, I think.
I don't remember.
Maria, maybe?
Could be Maria.
Robot Maria?
Because it was a female robot if they were trying to.
Yeah, because it was a feminine.
I don't know what other robot. There might have been some other robot that predated it, but I don't know if they had the.
I believe that is the first appearance of a robot.
We're gonna go with that one.
All right. Let's see. It was The Grim Game, a 1919 serial. It predated the term robot, and it was referred to as an automaton.
Oh,
dang it, you got us on that one.
Yep.
Oh, well, oh man, that one's messed up.
All right, well, his first director credit was Dementia 13, apparently.
There you go.
All right, we have one more, or is that?
That's it.
That's it for the. All right.
Would you have known it was Dementia?
No, I would not have gotten that one.
See, I've heard of Dimension 13, but I still wouldn't have figured that one out.
Well, thank you for watching NUFS Said with the New Ulm Film Society. Make sure you come over to our screening of Max Bishop on October 17th with the film's director at the Grands. And then what is the other film that we have here at the library coming up on October 8th?
We will be finishing out our mockumentary series with the film that became famous in New Zealand.
What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes. I always can't remember if it's what we do in the shadow or who we are in the shadows.
It's a great film. I've seen that one
It's,
many times.
for those who don't know, that is a mockumentary. It's a fake documentary about a group of vampires living in a house together.
I believe they have a series based on that as well.
They do now. It is a TV series now too, but the movie is the one that started it all.
Do you want to give a preview of what our next screening series will be coming up?
You know, we were still debating that last time I checked, but if I remember,
I believe it's officially.
We did officially do it.
American War through films.
Yeah.
Which we'll be releasing the list of films for that coming up here soon. So keep an eye out for that.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you.